Fun last night I figured I would share with everybody. So basically what we have here is a real simple form. It's just designed to do real simple field inspection. So we have a picture that we can take and we'll put some notes in, say keyboard. And then at this point the inspection is complete and we'll go ahead and just submit this back. So on the left-hand side, it's meant to be the person in the field, and on the right-hand side, well, on the left-hand side doing the inspection, on the right-hand side is actually their supervisor who needs to approve their work. Say if it's good, say mark up any notes or push it back to them. So I just got a notification telling me that record 34 is submitted and is pending review. And on this device, you're going to notice that there's two forms instead of one, and this approval request form actually serves a couple different purposes. Let's just say I forgot that job ID that just came through. I can actually check that little toggle there and hit done. And this is actually going to go back and tell me which jobs are open. That way I don't have to remember or keep these notifications. So actually there's 2, 28, and 34. I'm going to go ahead and take 34. And so I'll just type in 34 here and say done. And what this does is it basically says, as a supervisor, I'm requesting to QA 34. And so we did this with the mindset that basically there's a pool of things that need to be QA'd. We're not necessarily assigning one field inspector's work directly to a supervisor. We're just saying this is ready to be worked on. So now that I've asked for 34, I can go ahead and download those records. In the event that I cannot do this job, for some reason it just doesn't work out or I need to take off, I actually built in a mechanism to reset it. And so what I'll do is show you that two things. One, if somebody else tried to take 34 after I've requested it, basically there's a check that comes back and says that this has already been reviewed, and that's because I requested it. So keeping with 34, if I can no longer work on it, I'm actually going to say I need to reset this. And so by typing in 34 and saying reset, I'm able to put this one back into the pool. And so it's going to tell me that job number 34 has been reset, and I can go ahead and just wipe this off my device. Assume that this right-hand device is still another supervisor or manager. They can now say I want 34, and basically it's going to allow this request to go through because 34 got reset. So you'll see in a second I get an assignment to me and I get to download 34 again. So it's just real simple, two forms, one to do the inspection, one to manage the inspection. And basically now that I've got the inspector's work on my device, I actually have some form logic that only shows fields to the supervisor. So this field was not visible to this device on the left-hand side. At this point, I can fail it or I can pass it. I'm going to go ahead and pass it. And so I've reviewed the work. Just assume I went through and checked everything. And once I've approved it, it's going to now actually enter the data flow realm. So all this time, it's been living in iForm while we're basically doing the rough data capture. So first field inspection to my QA, maybe it goes back to the field again. As long as we're volleying the data back and forth there, it stays in iForm. Now that I've closed it, basically we're going to go ahead and see what happens next, which is we're pushing data into Dataflow all the time, but we're only catching it if it passes a certain criteria. And when I refresh this, you'll see that there's 6 records in here, and we have a couple things happening. 1 is a PDF hard copy, 2 is we're building an aggregation data set, and 3, we're just passing all of this raw QA data directly into reports so we can build some charts and graphs and work with the raw data directly. To sum this up, I'll just go ahead and show you that basically I have a new record in here, which is very much like the iForm HTML output. I was lazy, so I just copied the template here and then just populate the record data in. So anyway, hope that's helpful to kind of see what's happening. If you have any questions, definitely let me know.